The breaking point. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Terra Defense Academy, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display of Proxima Centauri's contested space. The usual buzz of activity in the station had fallen to an eerie hush, broken only by the soft hum of life support systems and worried whispers from fellow cadets. 3 days ago, the Void Collective had appeared without warning, their obsidian ships forming an impenetrable blockade around humanity's first extrasolar colony. Cadet Chen, report to command immediately. The eye's voice cut through her thoughts, its usual monotone carrying an unmistakable urgency. Sarah's fingers unconsciously brushed against the tactical officer's insignia on her collar, still new enough to feel foreign against her skin. At 23, she was the youngest tactical officer in the Academy's history, a distinction that had earned her equal measures of respect and resentment. The command center was a stark contrast to the quiet observation deck. Holographic displays painted the air with tactical data, casting blue shadows across the faces of senior officers gathered around the central projection table. Admiral Xavier Kane, his weathered face creased with concern, looked up as Sarah entered. Cadet Chen. Kane's voice carried the weight of centuries of military tradition. What do you make of this? He gestured to the tactical display, where the Void Collective's ships hung like black tears in the fabric of space. Sarah studied the formation, her enhanced neural implants processing patterns faster than purely organic minds could manage. They're not positioned for a traditional blockade, sir. The spacing is irregular, almost. She paused, frowning, almost like they're afraid of something. A murmur rippled through the assembled officers. Kane's eyebrows rose slightly. Afraid. The Void Collective has technology centuries ahead of ours. What could they possibly fear? Us, sir. Sarah's response was immediate, certain. Look at their formation. They're maintaining maximum distance from our defense platforms, while still holding the blockade. Standard doctrine says they should be tight, efficient. This is wasteful, requires more ships than necessary. They're sacrificing tactical advantage to stay away from our primitive technology. Kane's expression remained neutral, but Sarah caught the slight nod of approval. Interesting theory, Cadet. Care to explain why one of the most advanced civilizations in known space would fear our outdated defense systems? Sarah's mind raced through possibilities, patterns clicking into place. Because they don't understand them. Sir, the Void Collective relies entirely on quantum-locked AI systems. Their ships, their weapons, even their communication networks, all built on predictable mathematical perfection. But our systems, she gestured to the holographic display of Earth's defense grid. We still use analog backups, mechanical failsafes, things their AI can't predict because they're intentionally imperfect, designed by human minds that embrace chaos as much as order. The command center fell silent. Admiral Kane studied her for a long moment before speaking. Congratulations, Cadet Chen. You've just volunteered to test your theory. I'm giving you operational command of a special task force. Your mission is to break that blockade before our colony runs out of critical supplies. You have 72 hours. Sarah's heart jumped to her throat, but her voice remained steady. Yes, sir. Request permission to select my own team. Kane's lips twitched in what might have been a smile. Granted. But choose carefully. You'll be working with experimental technology, and there's no guarantee of survival if you're wrong about the Collective's weaknesses. With respect, Admiral, if I'm wrong about their weaknesses, the survival of Proxima Colony isn't guaranteed either. The Admiral's expression hardened. You have a point, Cadet. One more thing. We've detected unusual energy signatures from their ships. Our scientists think they might be attempting to construct something in orbit around Proxima. Whatever they're planning, you need to stop it. Sarah nodded, her mind already assembling a list of potential team members. She would need specialists who thought differently, who could see patterns where others saw chaos. The kind of people who made the Void Collective nervous. As she left the command center, her neural implant was already processing personnel files, looking for the perfect combination of skills and unpredictability. The Void Collective might have superior technology, but they were about to learn why humanity had survived on a death world, why Earth's children had spread across the stars despite all odds. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their ships or their weapons, but in their ability to turn disadvantages into advantages, to find solutions where none should exist. Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she began sending out notifications to her chosen team members. The Void Collective had made a critical mistake in their calculations. They had assumed that humanity's technological inferiority made them predictable. They were about to discover just how wrong they were. Calculated risks. The Academy's simulation chamber hummed with energy as Sarah faced her assembled team. She had chosen them carefully. Marcus Rodriguez, a prodigy in electromagnetic warfare who had once crashed the Academy's AI systems with a homemade radio. Dr. Aisha Patel, a quantum physicist whose theories about space-time manipulation made her colleagues uncomfortable, and twins Jack and Emma O'Neill, whose synchronized piloting skills had rewritten every record in the books. "You're probably wondering why I chose you," Sarah began, her voice echoing in the cavernous space. "Each of you has something in common. You think differently. You see solutions where others see impossibilities." Marcus raised an eyebrow, his fingers absently tapping against the makeshift signal jammer clipped to his belt. "You mean we're the troublemakers who keep giving the instructors headaches?" "Exactly." Sarah smiled, activating the holographic display. The Void Collective's blockade materialized between them, black ships hanging like obsidian sharks in a sea of stars. "Our enemy values perfection above all else. Their ships are controlled by quantum-locked AI systems that operate on pure logic. But logic has its limitations." Dr. Patel stepped forward, her dark eyes studying the formation. "These energy signatures, they're not just maintaining a blockade. They're building something." Her fingers traced patterns in the air, complex equations appearing and disappearing as her neural implant processed the data. "It's like they're trying to fold space itself." "That's what we thought too," Sarah confirmed. "But why here? Why now? The Proxima colony has been established for decades. What changed?" Jack and Emma exchanged one of their characteristic looks, the kind that seemed to carry entire conversations. "The mining operation," Emma said finally. 3 months ago, the colony started extracting dark matter samples from the system's outer rim." Jack nodded. "First successful extraction in human history." The collective must have noticed. Sarah's neural implant pinged as new data flowed in. "You're right. Look at this." She gestured, and a hologram shifted, showing the colony's mining statistics overlaid with the collective's ship movements. They arrived within hours of the first major extraction. "This isn't about the colony. It's about the dark matter." Marcus whistled low. "So what's the plan? We can't outgun them, and we definitely can't outtech them." "No," Sarah agreed, "but we can outthink them." "Dr. Patel, those theories of yours about quantum entanglement affecting AI systems, how confident are you in them?" Aisha's eyes widened. "They're completely untested. The Academy rejected them as too risky, too unconventional." "Perfect." Sarah's smile grew sharper. "Marcus, how long would it take you to modify your jammer to broadcast quantum noise on all frequencies?" "With proper equipment? A few hours. With what we have access to." He shrugged. "Maybe never." "You have 12 hours. Jack, Emma, I need you to learn to pilot something that doesn't exist yet. Dr. Patel is going to help you bend reality itself." The twins grinned in perfect sync. "Now you're speaking our language." Sarah activated another display, showing the experimental craft she'd requisitioned from the Academy's deep storage. It looked like someone had tried to build a ship out of abstract mathematical concepts, its hull seemingly shifting between states of matter. "This is the paradox," she explained. "It's a prototype based on pre-collective human theories about quantum navigation. No AI can pilot it because it technically exists in multiple states simultaneously. The collective's quantum-locked systems won't be able to track it because it defies their fundamental understanding of reality. Holy shit, Marcus breathed. That thing's going to tear itself apart the moment we power it up. Probably, Sarah agreed. That's why we need the best pilots in the Academy. Jack, Emma, you'll need to fly it perfectly out of sync with each other. The temporal displacement between your reactions will keep it stable. Theoretically. Dr. Patel was already running calculations, her expression shifting between concern and excitement. This is insane. The chances of success are, I can't even calculate them because half these equations shouldn't be possible. Exactly. Sarah's voice carried absolute conviction. The collected ships run on certainty. Their AIs calculate every possibility before making a decision. But this, she gestured to the paradox's specs. This runs on impossibility. It's powered by human intuition and our ability to function in chaos. The team spent the next several hours preparing. Marcus converted his jammer, pushing its capabilities far beyond its original design. Dr. Patel refined her theories, finding ways to weaponize uncertainty itself. The twins synchronized their neural implants to operate in controlled temporal displacement, their movements becoming an eerie dance of cause and effect. As they worked, Sarah received updates about the collective's construction project. Whatever they were building was growing larger, its energy signature distorting the very fabric of space around Proxima Centauri. They were running out of time. Finally, as the station's artificial day cycle began to dim, Sarah gathered her team for one last briefing. What we're about to attempt has never been done before, she said, looking each of them in the eye. We're going to take human unpredictability and turn it into a weapon. The collective thinks they know what we're capable of. They think they can predict our every move because they see us as primitive, limited by our technology. She paused, letting her words sink in. But they've never faced humans who embrace chaos, who turn their own limitations into strengths. Tomorrow, we show them why Earth is classified as a death world, not because of our planet's hazards, but because we learn to thrive in conditions that should be impossible. The team nodded, their expressions a mix of determination and that peculiarly human blend of fear and excitement that preceded every great leap into the unknown. They had no certainty of success, no guarantee of survival, but they had something the Void Collective couldn't compute, the absolute conviction that impossible odds just meant they hadn't found the right way to break the rules yet. Human factor. The paradox hung in the launch bay like a fever dream made real. Its quantum state hull rippled with possibilities, each surface simultaneously reflecting and absorbing light. Jack and Emma sat in their synchronized cockpits, their neural implants humming as they maintained the delicate temporal displacement necessary to keep the ship from collapsing into probability. Final systems check. Sarah's voice came through the comm, steady despite the tension. From her position in the command module, she could see the Void Collective's blockade through the bay's energy shields. Their obsidian ships had drawn closer together, their formation shifting to accommodate the massive structure they were building in Proxima's orbit. Quantum drive holding at 70% chaos threshold, Dr. Paddle reported from her station. Any higher, and we risk total reality breakdown. Any lower, and we become predictable enough for their AI to target. Marcus's fingers danced across his Modify console. Jammer ready. Those quantum-locked AIs won't know what hit them. Assuming we don't tear ourselves apart first. Sarah took a deep breath, watching as the final launch preparations completed. The plan was simple in theory. Use the paradox's impossible nature to slip through the blockade, disrupt whatever the collective was building, and prove that humanity couldn't be contained by conventional logic. In practice, they were about to attempt something that violated several fundamental laws of physics. Launch in 5, she announced. Remember, we only get one shot at this. The moment we power up, every AI in the system will try to make sense of us. We have to move before they can adapt. The countdown felt like an eternity. At 0, the launch bay doors opened to the void. and the paradox leaped forward. The sensation was indescribable, like falling in every direction at once while standing perfectly still. Through the view screen, Sarah watched reality bend around them as Jack and Emma piloted the ship through states of quantum uncertainty. "Multiple contacts," Marcus called out. "The collected ships are trying to get a lock on us. Their targeting systems are going haywire. They can't decide if we're one ship or 1,000, moving or stationary." "Keep pushing," Sarah ordered. "Dr. Patel, what's our status?" "Reality cohesion at 60% and falling," Aisha replied, her voice tight with concentration. "The quantum field is holding, but wait." She paused, staring at her readings. "Something's wrong. The collected's construction, it's not just a structure. It's a tear in space-time itself." Sarah's neural implant processed the new data, presenting possibilities that made her blood run cold. "They're not trying to maintain the blockade," she realized. "They're trying to delete the colony from existence." The dark matter extraction must have shown them that humans are closer to understanding quantum manipulation than they thought. "They're scared of us," Marcus said, a note of wonder in his voice. "All this technology, and they're terrified of what a bunch of Deathworlders might do with a little dark matter." A brilliant flash of energy erupted from the nearest collective ship, missing them by parsecs or micrometers. It was impossible to tell in their quantum state. Jack and Emma moved in perfect asymmetry, their synchronized piloting keeping the paradox phase shifted between moments of reality. "We need to get closer to their temporal device," Sarah decided. "Dr. Patel, can we use their own tear against them?" "Theoretically." Aisha's hands flew over her controls. "If we can match our quantum frequency to their tear, but phase shift it through human consciousness, it might work, or it might unravel the fabric of space-time." "Do it," Sarah ordered. "Marcus, pump everything you've got through that jammer. Let's show them what human chaos really looks like." The paradox dove toward the center of the collective's formation, its hull flickering through possibilities like a kaleidoscope of quantum states. The alien ships tried to respond, their perfect formations breaking as their AI cores struggled to compute the incomputable. "Energy spike," Dr. Patel shouted. "They're trying to activate the temporal device early. If that tear opens fully—" "Jack, Emma, give me everything you've got," Sarah commanded. "Take us straight through their tear." Marcus broadcast on all frequencies. "Dr. Patel, reverse the quantum polarity the moment we make contact." Time seemed to stretch and compress as the paradox accelerated toward the growing temporal anomaly. The collected ships fired desperately, their weapons passing through space where the paradox might have been, could have been, but never quite was. At the last possible moment, human unpredictability met quantum certainty. The paradox's chaos state drive collided with the perfect mathematical precision of the collective's temporal device. Marcus's jammer flooded every frequency with pure randomness, while Dr. Patel's calculations forced uncertainty into the very equations that powered the alien technology. The result was something neither side had predicted. The temporal tear collapsed in on itself, taking the collective's device with it. But instead of destroying everything in range, it created something new. A stable quantum interface between order and chaos, possibility and certainty. The void-collected ships hung motionless in space, their AI cores struggling to process what they had witnessed. Sarah opened a channel to all frequencies, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her system. "This is Cadet Sarah Chen of the Terra Defense Academy. What you just saw was humanity's answer to your attempt at temporal warfare. We don't need perfect technology or quantum-locked AI to change reality. We do it by embracing the chaos that you fear. The blockade ends now, or we demonstrate exactly why Earth is classified as a death world." Turning point. For 3 long minutes, silence filled the void between the paradox and the collective's fleet. The quantum interface they created pulsed with possibilities, casting strange shadows across both human and alien ships. Sarah kept her breathing steady, knowing that these moments would determine not just the fate of Proxima Colony, but humanity's place in the galactic order. The silence broke with a transmission unlike anything they'd encountered before. The collective's communication came not as words or images, but as pure mathematical concepts that the ship's systems struggled to translate. "Dr. Patel," Sarah called, "can you make sense of this?" Aisha's fingers moved across her console in complex patterns. "They're adapting. Using the quantum interface we created to speak in a way we might understand. It's fascinating. They've never had to communicate with non-quantum minds before." The mathematical concepts slowly resolved into comprehensible language. "You have altered fundamental constants," the transmission stated. "This defies all models, all predictions. You should not be capable of this level of quantum manipulation." "That's humanity's specialty," Sarah responded. "Doing what your models say is impossible. The blockade ends now, or we'll show you exactly what else we can do with a little chaos and determination." Marcus's console lit up with new readings. "They're scanning us, trying to figure out how the paradox works. But the quantum state is giving them fits. Their AI can't process what it's seeing." The twins maintained their temporal displacement, keeping the ship in its impossible state of being and not being. "We can't hold this forever," Emma warned, her voice strained. "The human brain isn't meant to process quantum uncertainty for extended periods." "Their ships are moving," Jack added. "Formations changing, but I can't tell if they're preparing to attack or retreat." Sarah's neural implant processed the tactical display, showing her possibilities that shouldn't exist. The collected ships were indeed moving, but in patterns that seemed to defy spatial logic. They were attempting to adapt, to incorporate chaos into their perfect systems. "They're learning," Dr. Patel realized, her voice filled with scientific wonder. "The quantum interface isn't just allowing communication, it's forcing their AI to evolve, to understand concepts it was never designed to process." The next transmission from the collective came clearer, almost desperate in its intensity. "Your species creates order from chaos, builds certainty from probability. This should not be possible. You are a contradiction." "We're human," Sarah replied. "Contradiction is our natural state. Now, are we going to discuss terms, or do we need to demonstrate more impossible things?" A new signal caught Marcus's attention. Energy spike from the colony. The dark matter they were extracting, it's reacting to the quantum interface. The whole system's becoming quantum entangled. "It's not just the dark matter," Dr. Patel interjected. "It's human consciousness affecting quantum states on a massive scale. Every colonist, every living mind in the system is unconsciously manipulating reality at the quantum level. The collective's presence has somehow awakened our latent ability to influence quantum probability." The revelation hit Sarah like a physical force. This wasn't just about defending a colony or stopping a temporal weapon. This was humanity's next evolutionary step, triggered by the very beings who sought to prevent it. "Your species cannot be allowed to develop this ability," the collective transmitted. "The risk to reality itself is already here." Sarah cut them off. "You can't stop this. The only choice you have is whether to help us understand it or face what happens when humanity learns to harness quantum uncertainty through trial and error. And believe me, we're very good at learning from our mistakes." The paradox's sensors registered massive energy fluctuations as the collective ships struggled to maintain their quantum-locked state in the face of growing chaos. Their perfect formation began to break down, individual ships showing signs of adapting to the new reality at different rates. "They're fracturing," Marcus reported. "Some of their ships are trying to maintain pure quantum logic, while others are attempting to incorporate chaos theory. Their entire command structure is reorganizing itself." Sarah watched as the blockade dissolved, not in retreat but in transformation. The collected ships moved in new patterns, no longer bound by rigid quantum mathematics, but not quite embracing human chaos either. They were finding a middle ground, a new way of existing that combined both approaches. "Your species brings change, The collective transmitted, their mathematical language now infused with concepts that had no direct translation. Change that cannot be controlled or predicted. Change that. There was a pause as their AI struggled with the concept. That frightens us. And yet, we find ourselves curious. That's another human trait you might want to learn about, Sarah replied. Curiosity. The drive to understand even what frightens us, especially what frightens us. The quantum interface pulsed with new energy as the dark matter reactions spread throughout the system. Every human mind, from the colony to the Paradox's crew, was unconsciously participating in the greatest transformation in human history. They were becoming something new, not quite the chaos-embracing beings they had been, not quite the quantum-manipulating entities they might become, but something uniquely human. Resolution. The observation deck of Terra Defense Academy was crowded with officials from every major human settlement in known space. 1 month had passed since the Proxima incident, as it was now being called, and the galaxy was still adjusting to its implications. Sarah stood at attention beside her team as Admiral Kane addressed the assembly. What began as a crisis has become the greatest advancement in human history, Kane announced, his voice carrying across the hushed chamber. The Void Collective's attempt to prevent our quantum evolution has instead accelerated it, and more importantly, it has changed them as well. Through the vast windows, everyone could see the transformed ships of the Collective, now stationed peacefully alongside human vessels. Their once purely geometric forms had evolved, incorporating organic patterns that reflected their new understanding of chaos theory and human unpredictability. The quantum interface is stable, Dr. Puddle reported, stepping forward at Kane's gesture. Every human colony in the sector is showing signs of increased quantum awareness. We're learning to consciously control what we once did by instinct alone. The collected scientists are helping us understand the process, while we're teaching them the value of intuition and controlled chaos. Marcus couldn't help grinning. Turns out when you combine quantum-locked AI with human unpredictability, you get something entirely new. Their ships can now operate in states of controlled uncertainty, just like the Paradox. Speaking of which, Emma interjected, Jack and I have been working with their pilots, teaching them how to navigate using instinct instead of pure mathematics. Some of them are actually getting pretty good at it. The assembly murmured with interest as holographic displays showed the latest data from joint human collective experiments. The quantum interface had grown, creating a new form of space-time that existed between pure order and pure chaos. It was an environment where both species could thrive, each learning from the other's strengths. Sarah stepped up to the podium at Admiral Kane's invitation. What we discovered at Proxima Centauri wasn't just a new technology or a new way of manipulating quantum states, she began. We discovered that humanity's greatest weakness, our chaotic, unpredictable nature, was actually our greatest strength. The Void Collective sought perfection through pure logic and quantum certainty. We showed them that true advancement comes from embracing imperfection, from learning to dance between order and chaos. The holographic displays shifted to show the dark matter extraction sites around Proxima Centauri. What had once been simple mining operations had transformed into research centers where humans and collective scientists worked together, exploring the boundaries between quantum certainty and human intuition. The collective feared us because they couldn't predict us, Sarah continued. Now they understand that predictability isn't always an advantage. Our ability to thrive in chaos, to find patterns in randomness, and to trust our instincts even when logic says we're wrong. These are the traits that will help both our species evolve. Admiral Kane stepped forward again. Based on your actions during the crisis and your continued work in building understanding between our species, I am pleased to announce that the entire Paradox crew is being promoted. Cadet Chen, step forward. Sarah moved with practiced precision, her heart pounding as Kane removed the cadet insignia from her collar and replaced it with the rank of commander. You and your team did more than save a colony, he said quietly. You opened a door to a future none of us could have predicted. Rather fitting, wouldn't you say? The ceremony concluded with the announcement of a new joint initiative. The Quantum Integration Program would combine human intuition with collective technology, creating a new framework for exploration and advancement. The Paradox would become the first of a new class of ships, designed to operate in the boundary space between quantum certainty and chaos theory. As the assembly dispersed, Sarah found herself back at the same observation window where she had first learned of the crisis. The view was different now. Collective ships moving in harmony with human vessels, their patterns a beautiful dance of logic and instinct. "You know what the best part is?" Marcus said, joining her at the window. "They're still absolutely terrified of us. But now they're terrified in a good way." Dr. Paddle laughed softly. "Can you blame them? We took their perfect quantum mathematics and turned it into an art form. That's got to be unsettling." "That's humanity for you," Jack and Emma said in unison, their quantum-enhanced consciousness now allowing them to maintain their sync even outside the paradox. Sarah watched as a group of collective scientists boarded a shuttle bound for Earth, eager to learn more about the species that had turned their understanding of reality upside down. "We didn't just survive on a death world," she mused. "We learned to take everything that should have killed us and turn it into a tool for advancement." The collective feared chaos because they didn't understand it. We feared it too, but we learned to use it anyway. The quantum interface pulsed with new possibilities, a visible reminder that the universe was larger and stranger than either species had imagined. Humanity had taken its first steps into a new era, not by conquering chaos or submitting to order, but by showing that true strength lay in learning to master both. As the sun set over the academy, casting long shadows through the quantum-shifted space around them, Sarah knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven itself not just as survivors or warriors, but as teachers, showing even the most advanced civilizations that there was always another way, another possibility, another path forward through the chaos of existence.